Alright, welcome to the start of a new game for me. Well, it's only new for this year. I played this quite a bit in the past. Dominions 4. It's a very odd game in that basically I think they first made this game back in 97 and now we're on version 4. And basically, the graphics and etc. have not changed since 1977. So, yeah, that is it. Everything else about the game they've implemented. So I'm gonna make this first episode trying to kind of go through. If you're playing this for the first time, I'm not a good player. You're not going to learn good strategy from me, trust me. And this game is a strategy game, which is what is kind of interesting about it. There's absolutely no tactics. Well, I mean, there's a little bit of tactics, but for the longest time, I didn't start playing this game because I thought, if I can't control my troops in battle, what's the point? But, oh, that music seems a little loud. There we go. So, but what ended up happening is I kept watching it on YouTube, and finally I realized, if I'm watching this game so much, it must mean I like it, so I should just play it myself. And I don't regret that, really. Here we're looking at the preferences. Zoom, map edge scrolling in windowed mode. I have a hard time with the map edge scrolling. One thing I wish they would do. This game also, by the way, can run on just like really poor computers. I've got it set at 30 frames per second just because I don't need it to be 60 frames. That does nothing. I mean, I really just... You'll see. There's no point in having this game 60 frames per second, so just don't do that to your computer. Save your electricity bill. Anyway, the volume, sound effects, they've improved it a little bit, but man, the volume and sound effects are terrible in this game. Like, just unmanaged. Like the different sound effects have different levels. So like the blessing sound, and like if you have like 50 people shooting bows, it's like just all over your sound card, and it's really awful. Like, it just sounds terrible. And I'm hoping to mitigate that as much as possible with this. They have added this since last time I played, though, which maybe mitigates that problem. I don't know. I haven't messed with it. Like, these don't help me at all as far as like explanation. Now, the only thing... scroll map with left mouse button. I wish this was scroll map with right mouse button, because your left mouse button gives movement orders. So it's like you give a movement order with your guy, and then you click over here to drag, and you accidentally cancel their movement order. It sucks. But I kind of have to have this. I'm just so used to it. I'll try to get used to the... I don't think ASDF works. I'll check. If I can get back used to that, I can turn that off and not like get off that crutch. But anyway, well, those are your preferences. Let's see. I'm playing with absolutely no mods. Vanilla game is what we're talking about here. And there are these really nice game tools, and I think I'm going to go ahead and do that right now. I like to do this. I tell you, I've spent hours just playing around making pretender gods. So let's go ahead and just do that. I know what I want to do, so we'll just jump right in. Create a pretender god. Now, what the conceit of the story is that the Pantokrator or whatever, the head honcho, has disappeared, and so now all these subjugated divine supernatural beings are vying for control of the world to become the new like top-notch god. And so that's why they're called pretender gods. And Dominions 4 introduces a disciple thing where like you can play with allies where one person's the pretender god and the other is their disciple. And anyway, if you don't play with this mode, then basically you play both roles. Like, you're a pretender god, and then you have a prophet who you assign, and you play with both like normal units. You can create a disciple. Actually, let's take a look at that really quick. Let's disciple. What do we have to pick from here? So your choices are different if you're playing a disciple. Like, basically, these are humans. Well, not necessarily. They're very, very powerful people, I mean, if you think about, like, sort of those classic Baldur's Gate or Dungeons and Dragons, where some mortal starts out becoming a really powerful hero and then tries to become immortal. Like, that's kind of the conceit here. Then you have monsters. I'll talk more about this in a bit. Then you have titans, and then you have really strange, like, they're almost categorically immobile, but they're like altars, like just really weird, like, I don't know, just monuments of power or something. Anyway, you'll see. But for your disciple, you're just limited to humans and monsters. The Thrice-Horned Bull is one that I quite like. But anyway, now if we go to create a pretender god, and let's see, I took Ulm, right? Yeah, you can see now you got a much bigger selection. Like, it goes beyond just the monsters. Now you can have, I don't know if the Demi-Lich was in there, but now you have like your traditional mythologically based titans, so just huge humans or humanoids or whatever. So you have Vulcan, the Forge Lord. I don't know who the Lord of the Forest is based on. You know, you got Keeper of the Bridge. Who was that? I forgot. Anyway, and then Odin, the Allfather, etc., etc. And then here you have these totems, idols, monoliths, just, I don't know. I don't know what to call them. So, one key difference is if you play human or humanoid, typically you're going to have a dominion of 1, but your magic path cost is going to be very low, so it's easy to customize them in magic paths. Whereas when you get up into monsters, magic path cost, a new one costs 80. So, like, for example, the Raven of the Underworld, if I want to add something other than death, that's going to cost a lot of points. So it's not very efficient. If you want to have like a lot of different magic skills, you want to go the lower down. And then the monsters you can do some messing around with, but yeah, by the time you get to Titans, it's really quite expensive. However, one interesting one is when you get to the monoliths and such, their magic path cost goes back down to 140, and they're also rather cheap compared. Like, the monolith is 160, whereas the Allfather is 270, right? So, anyway, some of them you'll notice have a reduced buy. So, like the Great Mother, 200 points reduced by 20. Don't let that fool you too much. 20 points is not going to be very much. So, for example, if we go in here, the first path is costing us, we go from 300 to 260. It cost us 60 points, and that's because, that's again because new paths cost 60. But after that, it's like what? I don't know. Anyway, one Dominion costs 7, right? Your first level up, yeah, costs 7, and then 14. That's already 21. So that bonus 20 points isn't even going to cover more than your first upgrade on Dominion. So if I chose her with a different nation, that 20 points discount is basically something as small as the difference between 4 and 3 Dominion or 2 and 3 Earth. Not one level of Earth or one level of or maybe 2 levels. Like, it's not one level of Earth, because as these goes up, right, 132 to get to level 9, we go automatically down to 70. That's way over 20. But it might be the difference between having like level 1 and no, even that's too much, isn't it? Yeah, basically the difference between level 1 Earth and level 2 Earth, level 2 nature, level 3 nature, 3 Dominion, 4 Dominion. That's basically all it's going to do for you. And then if you boost these up higher, anyway, it's not a big deal is what I'm trying to say in very verbose terms. Don't feel like, oh, it's discounted, so I should only take the discounted ones. It's trivial. It's trivial. Utterly trivial. So always pick the one that you want that's going to fit your gameplay. So, yeah. If you really want to have Odin with Ulm, just go for it. Okay, one other thing is I started to explain it and then I stopped. So these idols tend to have 4 default Dominion, and so going from 4 to 5 is cheaper than, say, these guys going from 1 to 4 is much more expensive. So that's another thing too, is these guys have stronger Dominion spread, and I'll talk about that later in the game, but there's basically 3 elements of the game that you're fighting. There's a military element, which is capturing provinces and requires troops and everything. There's a magic element, which is casting spells and just having magical power, which is your gems. You have a variety of different gems, so there's that level of that you're competing for as well. And then finally, there's the religious level, which is your Dominion, which is why the game's called Dominion. And that is basically this game. One thing that really is a good selling point for it is it does religion the way that so many civilization games have been trying to do but haven't, which is that religion exists on a completely different level than like national identity, etc. And in this game, basically, if you run out of white candles, like this candle is white, if you have nowhere that somebody believes that you exist as a god, you're no longer a god, you lose the game. And the higher your dominion, the stronger you encroach on other people's dominion, and the lower your dominion, the more easily you're pushed back, and the less strongly you can build it up. So that's how it works in a nutshell. Okay. Wow, I've already spent 10 minutes on this. Let's see. I want us to go ahead and make a pretender god. And I know what I want to do. Let's go Middle Ages. Early Ages is probably the most fun. It's the one that I think has the most time put into it. Late Ages, by comparison, has the fewest selections, right? It's only got this... This looks like a big list. This is a big list, too. But now... Whoops. Compare that to the Early Ages, though, which... Did I look at the right one? This is Early Ages. It's just a few less, I guess. But anyway, they have increased it since its original release. I think this is version 4.3 something. I don't know. I'll put it in the description. I'm going to choose Middle Ages. And let's see. These are my factions to choose from. And I want to go with Marignon Fiery Justice. Marignon is a human kingdom based on religious zeal. So, you know, not unlike America. Holy knights and inquisitors ride out to purge the world of enemy faiths. Marignon has powerful fire and astral mages and powerful priests. Now, I kind of disagree that it has powerful priests. It's okay. their priests are pretty good. Anyway, here you get a little breakdown. The race is humans, military heavy infantry, crossbows and knights, magic fire, astral, and some air and earth. Ugh, it's so hard to get air and earth with these. And powerful priests, and they have inquisitors, which are not bad. We'll go over those as we play. So anyway, these are the different ones. Different factions have different selectables as well. Like, you'll see some of these cross over into different ones. Like, what was it? Well, we don't have the monolith up here, but we do have the Earth Mother and these guys that were available to the Ulm. I am going to choose, however, the Titan of Death and Rebirth. Okay, and the reason I'm doing that is because I'm going to do what's called a Bless strategy. And that means I'm going to boost these 3 magic paths. These are the 3 magic... Now, is it really the one I want to boost? Yeah, you know what? Screw it. We're going to do it. So, now it's that one, or... I'm sorry. You don't have to click out that many times. I'm just misclicking, and that's why it's happening. So, that one... Water wouldn't be bad either, but I want nature... So, there's water, but not nature. She's got water, and she's got nature. Okay. She is the one I think I'm going to go... I only have 250 design points left, though. She costs 250, he costs 220. That's okay. We can handle that. So, yeah, we'll go with the Titan of Love. And because of her special ability to... Her mere presence brings love. We'll have unrest decreased. Okay, so yeah, we're gonna go with her. And I'm gonna give... Okay, so what I'm doing here is raising the costs. Now, if you watch down here, this is bless effects. Troops that are blessed will... Not all troops can be blessed, but you have certain troops that can be blessed, and they will get this benefit. Morale +1 is really nothing to write home about. But when you get a magic path to level 4, suddenly now we have defense skill +2, which is your ability to evade blows. And Now it's a different story. So now they get not just morale +1, but defense +2. And we bump that up to 6, it's +3, to 8, it's +4, to 9. Now we have quickness added on. And quickness means they move faster and attack more. Now, whether I go ahead and keep the quickness or not, I don't know. We'll see. 10 would be sweet, but anyway. Now, with nature, at number 4, it gets +3 hit points to all of our guys. Then +4, +5, +6, +7, and at 9, we get +8 and regeneration. You know, I'm still debating, is this what I really want to do or not? I don't think so. That explains what she does. I am going to go, however, with the Titan of Death and Rebirth, and we are going to go up to 9 regeneration. And this time I'm going to go with the Earth skill to get reinvigoration +2. All this does is add endurance, your stamina. And stamina is what units need to act, and especially your mages need it to cast spells. So it's very good to have. Death. At 4, we get Undying +5. Now what this is it's kind of like negative hit points. Your troop is not going to stop existing on the battlefield until they're reduced to like basically -5 hit points. Combined with +8 hit points, this means that you're effectively giving your troops +13 hit points and regeneration. So if they can regenerate each round and get back above negative hit points, they'll survive as well. So yeah, amazing survivability. And if we bump this up to 9, we get a protection bonus of +5. This is more like your armor class, but it has sort of diminishing returns, so that's the only thing you got to kind of keep in mind. Now, he does not really have any other exciting stuff, except he's strong in spring and has a supply bonus, yay. Now, for my scales, this is where you can get points back, is by kind of giving yourself bad Dominion scales. I don't know. This affects income and supplies. This affects income and resources. This affects income, unrest, and gives more chance of events, which can be good or bad. Income, unrest reduction, yeah, so basically the opposite. Income and supplies plus growth or minus growth. Luck is just more events, but better chance of good ones. And then Dominion research effects I'll talk about. Now, with your Dominion, wherever your Dominion is positive, these effects are going to take place. So you could say, like, well, I'll just give myself bad Dominion and then go take over the lands of guys who have, like, really high growth. Well, the problem is that your Dominion's going to replace theirs, so if they had a +3 and your religion takes over, your Dominion, all of a sudden it's going to go back down to your crappy scale. And +3 and -3 is the max difference. So, anyway, I'm a big believer in province defense, which is why I don't mind having unrest. Like, I'll just deal with it. However, the income penalty, that's pretty straightforward. That just affects how much gold you're going to make, and you need gold to buy stuff. It's fundamental. Now, resources is a little different. Resources, there's two basic things to build troops. You're going to need resources, and you're going to need money. And, like, resources are just like, you know, the iron or whatever you need to build with. So if you take a nation like the one I'm taking, has heavily armored knights, as opposed to, like, you know, naked wild men, you need lots of resources. So if I give this a sloth penalty, you know, I can overcome it eventually, but it's really going to slow down my production of heavy units. So it's something to keep in mind. With Ulm, I like giving this a minus just because Ulm has a unit that can mitigate that. Like, you get these smiths up and running, and they'll fight back against your resource penalty. So it's kind of fun. It still slows you down in the early game, though. Supplies. Now, supplies are going to be like your food or whatnot that you need to keep your army running. And that is also one I don't mind so much on the negative. The income is what hurts more. The problem with the supplies is if you start taking your army away from your castles and you go in somewhere where you're going to have a supply bonus, your troops are going to start starving, and then the starvation effect, I believe, just has a combat penalizer. We'll check in the game because I'm sure it'll come up. But the thing that's worse about it is as they continue to starve, they're going to get afflictions. And afflictions are permanent wounds that are very difficult to heal up. And if you get enough afflictions, like, well, obviously one way is if it's an affliction that takes away from your hit points and you get enough of those that you have no more max hit points, you die. Your unit's dead. And that will affect your commanders and your troops. So yeah, it's not fun to get afflictions. Now, yeah, you know, the growth death is another one I kind of preferred having. For this faction, I'm going to try not to mess with my productivity scale. Magic is going to affect your research as well as the fatigue. I mentioned that you have a stamina, which affects how quickly you cast spells. This is going to affect that. So if it's -2, it's not just that your research is going to be penalized by 2, because that's what it does. It penalizes your research. It's also going to add 2 fatigue to every single person who casts a spell. But the nice thing is if I take this earth, which gives extra reinvigoration, then I don't mind. In fact, this could be even, except for the research penalty, the spellcasting aspect of this could be a good synergy, because it means everybody, I believe, is going to have a penalty. Like, opposing spellcasters are going to have a penalty, but unless they have a nice reinvigoration bonus or something, I'm going to have the advantage. So, yeah, I like this. We're going to do this to get our points back. We're at -224. The biggest way to get your points back is to go from being awake, which means your god is available from turn 1, to being dormant or imprisoned. Now, that means your dormant pretender will awake in a year's time, give or take a few months. Now, how many are there? I think it's 12 turns per year. Is it 12 turns per year? I think it is, yeah. So, you know, it's 12 turns you go without your god, which is not bad, but you're missing out on the chance to expand early and also to get experience for your god, especially if he's one that you plan on fighting with. Now, with a Titan, I kind of like to do that because Titans, well, he's got 112 hit points. That's immense. Okay, a regular human troop is going to have 10 hit points. So anyway, yeah, he can crush, absolutely crush. But do I need him that soon? No, I could probably go with dormant. So imprisoned, I don't know if I recommend this for mobile gods, or unless you have a god that, like if it's a monolith or something that you just want to get a bless effect. Like, I think that's, nobody ever takes imprisoned unless they're going with like really, really powerful bless. And immobile gods are more appropriate for that. We'll go dormant with this guy, so that puts us at -74. We just got to come up with a few more points. I could be talked into trying to do either awake or imprisoned, but awake would be great. But anyway, Dominion, this can be increased later in the game, and I'll talk about that. So like I said, I don't think I would mind having a penalty to supplies. The income penalty I don't like. Unrest, events plus 2%. Okay, let's go for that. But now that we have a bonus to events, let's try to mitigate, since we're up at +46. Well, I guess we could go down to 6. It's not bad, is it? And then, but if we boost that by 1, see, we don't even have enough to boost our Dominion. If I put this up, whoops, 1, I could give myself luck. That makes events much more likely, but they're much more likely to be good. Now, yeah, since I am increasing my events through this, I'm going to try it. So, do I really want to do anything else? I could, for example, give myself a penalty here. He is the god of death, you know, it makes sense. And with that... I could go to 6, or I could go Undying +6. Yeah, I'm really tempted. Let's do it. So this is our pretender. Save. And I'm just going to call him Palin. There we go. Palin. Okay. All praise Palin. Alright. So I've made a pretender. You don't have to do it this way. You'll basically do it when you do a create new game. So for example here, okay. Foo. Yeah, sure, delete it. Middle Ages. Okay. Okay. And now we make our pretender here. But what you can do is you can load a pretender god. Now, I don't have one saved for this nation, but that's what we're going to do. And that's what I'm going to do in the next episode. So, yeah, I should probably just go back and... I should make sure I introduce a warning saying, like, this is what we're going to do. Alright, so that's the first episode, just making a pretender god and me talking and not a lot happening on screen. And when we come back, we will actually start a new game. Alright, thanks for watching. See you then. Bye-bye.